It says YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube.
Okay.
We're on YouTube.
Yeah.
Perfect. We're good. All right. I'm going to
All
just
right,
make you disappear and, uh-oh, how do I do this? Hide. Okay, we're good.
Good to go. All right, I'm going to send the feed your way. Have a good show.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Welcome to an enlightened hour of interactive talk. This is Guided Spirit
all the time.
Conversations with host Marla Goldberg. In this program, we spotlight guests from all over the globe who have helped others change their lives, and will provide you with the tips, tools, and techniques that you need to help make a difference in your own life. Now, here is Marla Goldberg.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another week. I hope you're all doing well out there. I know this seems like it's an eternity that everybody is being socially mindful, which I'm taking that phrase from Dr. Sharon Stroud. She shared it, and I love it. I like it much better than socially distancing ourselves. Today, I am so excited. I've been having the best offline conversation with Sherry Jewell. Sherry is a certified medium who has been practicing for many years. She has studied and refined her skills extensively under the direction of James Van Praagh, John Holland, as well as other well-versed leaders in the industry. Sherry has been a keynote speaker demonstrating mediumship at the Lightworkers Conference and at the All Souls Conference with Jennifer Weigel. She regularly participates in mediumship events and demonstrations and is available for private readings and group events. Well, when we can get back to group events, right, Sherry?
That'd be nice.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm fine. Just quarantined like everybody else.
Socially mindful.
Yes.
I just love Sharon. And she said this and it was brilliant. I thought it was a brilliant way, positive way of putting it out there.
Yeah, I've heard also like who was it? Somebody spiritual said something about physical distancing. They like that better than social. Because
Yeah.
Relationships are important now. I mean, we got to stay like the Zoom, thank God, or YouTube. At least we can all connect still, you know?
Absolutely. It's so important. So let's talk about you because this is what this is about. It's about you. So let's talk about the beginning because I always like to start where you started. When was it that you had your first awakening and what was it that was the impetus to bring you there?
Hell, but no. I was born Catholic. I love calling psychics. Okay. I've always like been into that. Even when I was like 30, I bought like books, How to Be Psychic. And I read them. I'm like, I can't do this. And then a series of events happened. My child was sick for like a year. He missed like school for a year. My dad got cancer and then got paralyzed after a surgery.
Oh my God.
And it's like every time, like they would be like a month apart, these things. And there was more than that. And every time I'd start feeling a little better or getting a grip on what was happening, another thing would knock me down. And honest to God, it did put me into a depression. I never suffered from depression, never had anxiety or any of that stuff that I was aware of, and got into a depression for quite a few years. Not fun.
No, it's not fun. So when did you sort of springboard into realizing you had these abilities?
So it was in my middle 40s. Like I said, I was going through like, I call it like the dark night of the soul or just hell, whatever word you want to give it.
Right.
And all of a sudden one day I started having like prophetic dreams. Like my dreams, I was very interactive, the lucid dreams where I'm actually talking to people. And I started seeing people in my dreams and then I would meet them within like a week or two. So I became like very divinely guided. That's how I met Jennifer Weigel. Spirit, told me reach out to her.
Mhm.
She thought I was crazy when I emailed her and said spirit, but she realized I wasn't. And we now work together sometimes. Who else? Teresa, that was weird. I fell
Teresa
asleep.
Caputo?
Yeah. I fell asleep watching TV and I was watching Teresa Caputo, the Long Island Medium. And in my dream, like right before I wake up, I get a lot of messages right before I wake up.
Mhm.
I saw her. And now I've had that kind of dream so many times where I know, okay, I'm going to meet this person. This one I did not believe. I'm in Chicago. She's in New York. I'm like, how the hell am I going to meet Teresa Caputo? And I fell asleep watching the show. So it's just a random. Honest to God, something told me to grab my phone even before I got out of bed. I looked on Facebook. She was at Old Orchard Shopping Center, like 15 minutes from my house.
Oh, wow.
And then it got trippy. there had to be thousands of people there. I'm not kidding. The line was, have you ever been to Old Orchard?
Of
The
course.
line,
I'm from
okay.
that area.
okay. So she's on the bottom floor, like in the basement of, what was it, Barnes and Noble or Borders, whatever it is.
Sure.
The line was 2 stories high and out the door. Okay. I walk up and she was just doing book signings where it's like 30 seconds, hi, move on. God is my witness. It freaked me out. And I don't think she knows what happened either. All of a sudden she was looking down, autographing the book, and only her eyes looked up at me and her eyes changed. I mean, that woman is real. I'm going to tell everybody. And her eyeballs changed. Like, I don't know who stepped into her, what spirit or whatever. And all of a sudden I felt like an energy ball, like this big, like a big softball thrown into my stomach where it actually hurt. I mean, I went, oh, and she was frozen. I was frozen. We both talk a lot and neither one of us could talk. It was like a frozen, like,
Moment in time.
yeah, it was really weird. And then I came out of it and I just kind of giggled and I left and went and talked to Larry. So I don't know what that was about. I don't know. It was an energy transfer, but that was during my awakening. So I think they were showing me what energy was, what can happen and stuff like that. Yeah. And then another time it was weird. I was born Catholic, not religious though. I did believe in God. I didn't feel like I had to go to a building.
Right.
And one day I was upset and I was talking to a psychic and she goes, Archangel Michael's with you. And in my head, I'm like, lady, you're crazy. Angels are not real to me. Seriously, I never thought about angels. Honest to God, I felt him stand behind me and I felt like every feather go like that, like over my entire body.
Embrace you.
Yeah. It was like a cocoon, right?
Yeah.
And I felt just all this like unconditional love, bliss, peace. And then that divine, I don't know if you've ever had that when the divine touches your heart. It's like a love or a feeling that you can't even explain.
It's a warmth. It's sort of like a radiant warmth that sort of comes up and comes out.
Yeah, but it was a piercing. It was just like you knew you were touched by an angel or the divine.
Right.
I mean, I've had it a few times and it takes your breath away because you're like, what the hell just happened? You didn't know they were standing behind you. Yeah.
Well, someone's standing behind you now because I'm seeing this green yellow orb. It sort of goes on your right side and then it sort of goes off and then it comes back and it goes off.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like this energy ball.
It's probably the angels. I do work. So I've had like, Archangel started like taking over I do a lot of automatic writing, typing.
Yes.
And I'd be on a website and all of a sudden my hands are taking over and I'm typing messages and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm like, I'm not hitting enter. I always lose. Right. And,
Of course.
and then like, Archangel Ariel signed her name once, Raphael. I mean, so it was weird. All of a sudden I could be like talking to you and something will come out of my, like if I was writing or out of my mouth and I'm the last one to even know what I'm saying. It just happens.
Well, I'm open to receiving. So if anything comes through, feel free to share. So what exactly are your abilities or your gifts? Whatever you call them, talents?
I am a very strong empath. So, if your shoulder hurts, my shoulder hurts. Spirit, if they died of a heart attack, I'm like, ow. If their leg was cut off, I'm walking around with my leg cut off. It's very strange. But yeah, I am clairaudient, voyant, knowing, feeling. I have them all. And just a
So
strong
you work with
empath.
all the clairs.
Yeah, I just don't get the smelling, which is fine.
That might be a better thing. It just every time somebody reminds me of that, that commercial with the raccoons where they're going through the garbage and the guy goes, "Oh my God, this is horrible. Here, you've got to try it." That's what
Yeah.
clear smelling is to
Smelling
me.
and the taste one I don't have. And that is fine. I mean, because it does get it's funny because my gifts opened up seriously. It felt like overnight. Like I just could do it one day. Like angels were there, and the next thing I'm like, wait a minute, I'm talking to dead people. And it really just came out naturally. And then I just had to master myself. I believe our soul is the best teacher and I don't think there's one way for everybody. And I think we have to find out what resonates with us and
With that.
master how it works with us.
Right.
How spirit works with us.
So can you explain the difference between being an intuitive, a psychic, and a medium?
Well, an intuitive I feel is, I don't know, it's a big trend now that people don't want to be called psychics. They want to be called intuitives. I don't care. But I think, intuition can be like, the mama's instinct or, that gut
Mhm.
feeling. I feel psychic perceives energy. Like, I could connect with you. I might even telepathically, what you're thinking or, what energy is around, your aura and all that. So that's perceiving or reading it, whatever you want to call it. And the mediumship, you're receiving information from the spirit world.
Perfect.
That's how I look at it.
And so you have all the clears. Do you have, other than being an empath and feeling other people's pain or emotions,
Yeah.
what's your next strongest ability?
I would say it started out with clairaudience, there's kind of weird because clairaudience technically should be like hearing with your ear.
Right.
Have I had that happen? Yeah. One time there was like a man, it sounded like you talking in my ear, but a man.
Right.
And that was very loud and booming. Now it's more of just like telepathic thoughts, so
That's so funny because that happened to me. That's what started me on the road. I graduated from energy healing school and
okay.
I kept taking more and more classes, but I just was going down my own path. I
Yeah.
started a bakery. I went into real estate. I did a few things and I was traveling with my husband and this big booming voice said, and it was a demand. It was like, you need to start a
Yeah.
practice and you need to start helping people. And I was like, and I was jolted out of a deep sleep and I woke my husband up. It's like, what did you just say to me? And he goes, what do you, and it was like one of those, what are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. And we had a conversation and well, one thing led
It's
to
weird.
another. Now here I am.
Well, yeah. And what happened to me, I was like, they always get me naked. I don't know why, but right before I'm getting in the shower, I'm like, guys, come on. But I just taken my clothes off. I was going to take a shower. And that booming, authoritative, like male voice said, go to church. And I'm like, what? I'm like, you're kind of like, and it goes, go to church now. God's waiting.
I
I'm
hope he
like,
wasn't talking about his come as you are party.
well, yeah, I'm like, yeah, wait. So I'm like, okay, it's like noon or something, whatever, early afternoon. And I jumped in the shower and went to church, and I went to church. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm here. What's up? And nothing happened. But I think it was just for both of us, probably just to get that experience, to know we're being guided, and are we going to listen?
Exactly. And sometimes this was what happened to me. I don't know if this happens to you, but if a message is coming and I'm not listening to it, it's sort of like a tap on my shoulder and then the tap gets harder and harder and
Yeah.
harder until it's like, okay, stop hurting me. I got it. Like one
Yeah,
of those type of responses.
Yeah, it's pretty trippy. I mean, I think that, it's good we're talking about this too, because I think that, I look at it as sometimes a spiritual awakening can be chaos before the bliss, right?
Well, it's the storm before the calm instead of the calm before the storm. It's
Yeah.
really the other way around.
And it was, the spiritual awakening was, I have to be honest, absolute hell. I mean, I'm like, just get me out of here, but I was a mom and I still had to raise my kids, but I was definitely depressed. And God, that probably went on at least 5 years. I don't even know. And then all of a sudden, like these floodgates opened up and life became like a magic carpet ride and synchronicity happened. So looking back on it now, and I'm sure you do too, we have the gratitude for that, what we went through, the traumatic events, the pain, because it taught us so much. Like if we didn't have that experience, how could we help somebody else? We wouldn't have compassion, non-judgment, love for another, or even wanting to talk to anybody.
Or compassion for another and their plight.
Yeah.
And be able to
And
help them.
yeah, and it's just, I guess, if your gifts opened up also, in your 40s or whatever, later in life, I kind of believe maybe it was our soul mission. It was time to wake up and,
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, mine opened up in my 40s and I was sharing this story about graduate, went to my mystery school and in the mystery school, we were doing an exercise and I thought, and I didn't realize that the mystery school meant that I was going to be out becoming psychic or a visionary or anything else. And so it is, and like all of a sudden I had that experience where I was clairvoyant. I saw pictures of what was going on. And when I talked to my partner and she said, oh my God. And it were only 3 things, but to me, it was like giving somebody a wealth of information because I didn't think I was able to give anybody anything. And during this whole exercise, I'm going, please God, please give me something. Please God, please give me something. I was begging for something because I
Yeah.
just didn't want to disappoint my partner. And they
I
came
think
through
that's
for me.
it too with, when you get the depression or you're going through a hard time, it's almost like I feel like we have to break open who we are and conditioned to be and break our heart open to get to our soul and, to be able to express from that place now.
Well, and I also think we have to break open our heart because we have to be vulnerable. We have to allow ourselves to be a wee bit vulnerable to
Yeah.
be able to receive. You have to get out of your head into your heart and allow the messages to come, because if you stay in your head and you keep thinking and thinking and ruminating, nothing comes in. It's like knocking against, a wall,
Right.
so to speak.
Yeah. And I think it does take some time. Like I had to be alone. Like I ended up having to, I think, spend some time alone to find ourselves. I started, I didn't know what meditation was. I didn't pray. I didn't do any of that. And I started getting knocked into trances and getting teachings and, my dreams, everything became teaching when I was awake or asleep and tranced out. And I'm like, what is happening? But it makes sense now, but I think that if we share that with people, I think more people are in a spiritual awaken now, especially through this chaos, they're not crazy,
No,
something
and as
beautiful
we
is happening.
exactly, well, it's happening on so many different levels. It's happening for the earth. Our planet is healing. We're going through a huge upset, but I think at the end of the tunnel, when we see the light again of what's going on, we will find that many of us will have these epiphanies, have these changes. You either will or you won't.
Right. And
But
some people
those
don't.
those who are praying because they need the help now, I think those are the ones who will be most likely opened.
Yeah,
And this might be the cracking of the coconut, so to speak, right
yeah, I
now.
remember like years, I'd say about 5 to 8 years before, my awakening, I was in a church for something, or someone's service or something. And I remember like praying to God, I promise I'll go to church every Sunday. Help me. Well, little did I realize different plan for me.
But you asked for help and they came and helped. You
Yeah.
just didn't expect help to come in that
I
manner.
just said I'd go to church every Sunday, which I never did, but
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 they
then
still
this
have
happened.
to.
Yeah. And so I think, maybe that's it, breaking open that egg, and it's surrender and then trust and all that stuff comes into play.
Yeah, and you have to trust the information you get, that it's coming from
Yeah.
spirit, and not question and not judge. I mean, that's one of the first things I learned is whatever information comes, accept it. If you're working with someone, don't even try to figure it out. It's none of your business. It's none of
Exactly.
your business what information you're getting.
Yeah. And sometimes people call you for a reading and, I don't even let them ask me a question. I'm like, can I just talk? Because spirit will give me, and they may be in a relationship now they want to know about. I'm like, I'm going back to another past relationship or the mom and dad. Because if we get to the root cause, it doesn't matter what's happening now. We have to get to the root cause that's causing all your problems and all your current and future relationships for your
Yep,
healing.
absolutely. And it does. You have to get to the root to to be able to heal it. Whatever
Exactly.
the root is, you need to face it and then address it and heal it. And then it's amazing. Like if you broke your arm, you have to have the cast on for a period of time, and then the cast comes off and it's like, wow, it's better than new. Who knew?
Yeah. I mean, it's a rebuilding. I mean, it really is a clearing, rebuilding, and it's an amazing, looking back, right? You have gratitude for all the pain you went through.
I do
Because we
every
would not be
morning.
sitting here, neither one, me or you, we would not be sitting
Exactly.
here. I mean, I would think that if I was talking, like if I heard somebody talking like this, I'd be like, you're nuts. But it really opened up a whole new world and like a magical world and synchronicity and everything.
And that's what you need to keep in mind, is it is magical. It's such a magic place.
Yeah.
We're going to go on a break in a second, but I want to let the audience know, if you want to talk to Sherry and ask her any questions, please feel free to give us a call at 888-346-9141, 888-346-9141, and we'll be right back.
All right, great job. All clear. Back in a couple minutes.
Cool. Thank
What
you,
happened?
Matt.
So what happens now? A commercial?
Yeah, they do a commercial. We keep talking.
Oh, okay.
We just chat like we did
I'm always
before we
scared like somebody
started.
can hear us. I'm like, should we mute?
Oh no, they can hear us and it's okay. Oh my God. I forgot to press the record button.
Oh, you weren't recording the whole time?
They're recording
Hmm.
on Voice America, but this is going to, like, I saved the recording and we'll get the whole recording.
Okay. So people can actually hear us talking now?
Yeah. And it's the
Hi,
behind the
people.
scenes. It's great. And seriously, tell them you want to talk to them. You call Sherry. She would love to talk to you. She would love to do that. I'd love to know. It's really interesting now that I told you about that light that was by you. It's
Yeah.
not there anymore. It's sort of moved on.
I really feel that I always have the archangels around me. Like I always place them in front of me, sides, back. I want to look back and see if I could see it because I didn't see it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I have had that before where I've had, people on guests and I see things and I see it and they don't see it. Yeah, there
Yeah.
was one guest I had, they had a ton of energies around them, different energies. I don't know if they were angels or spirits. She was
Oh.
another medium. And I said, this room is packed. It's where your whatever room you're in is
Well,
so
like it
packed because it was
feels weird. Like
filled.
right now, like I feel spirit and like I could feel them like sitting on top of me. Like it's called overshadowing. But to
Hmm.
me, it feels like they're just like on top of me. And so, or my ear hums when spirit comes. And I think that's another thing people have to realize too is what is your calling card? I call it, or
A signal.
yeah, do you get a tingle? What, and I think being psychic and a medium too, and an empath, it's not just, always being in your head, it's paying attention to how your body feels. And,
Yeah. I
you know,
buzz.
yeah,
I buzz. My head just goes like right around my third eye area, it just all buzzes. But when I do energy work, oh my God, it's not attractive. My eyes tear, I itch. And if I'm wearing mascara or makeup, I look like a raccoon by the time I'm done. Or I'll do these meditations and I'll hit the energy and all and it's just what it is. And I accept it. And I guess I could ask for it to be a cleaner exchange, but I just let it go
well,
for
you
what
know
it
what? I
is.
feel, yeah, I mean, it used to be like my crown tingling. Now my ear hums. So even before we start this interview, even, or anytime I do a reading, I'm like, hey, make my ear hum so I know you're here. Okay. And sure enough, the minute it's about to start, my ear hums. I
Yeah.
always still get the head tingles, or I'll feel like a person like standing like over me on my side, or,
Mm-hmm.
but, I think that's people have to realize, like, I guess we should wait till we come back. Are we back or not?
No, we're here.
We are coming back here in about 10 seconds. Stand by.
Perfect. Thanks, Matt. You're so
I, I,
conscientious.
well, I think that, people need to realize, like everyone always asks me,
VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You are listening to Guided Spirit Conversations. To reach Marla Goldberg or her guest today, you're invited to call in to the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. If you'd rather send an email, the address is guidedspiritconversations@gmail.com. Now, back to this week's program.
and we're back.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for sticking around for those who have been here from the beginning. But if you've just tuned in, I'm with Sherry Jewell, and Sherry is a jewel. She is a certified medium who's been practicing for many, many years. She's studied with the best, and she is amazing. She has been a keynote speaker at the Lightworkers Conference and at the All Souls Conference with Jennifer Weigel. And I am just loving our conversation now. It has been amazing. And please, if you're out there and you want to talk to Sherry, don't be shy. Call in at 888-346-9141. Okay, Sherry, we're back.
Yeah. So I was just saying, like, a real common question I get from clients, especially when they're grieving, how do I know my loved one is around? And I was I was explaining to you, and this too, is mediums call it a calling card, or, you
Mhm.
said signal, it's all the same thing. When it first started happening to me, my, like, right here, my crown would tingle. It felt like little, like, lights going around in a circle, or like the top of a pot came off, like you have a hole in your
Mhm.
head. Now my ear, now my ear hums, or you might get hot, you might get sweaty, you might get cold. And I guess I don't know why I'm saying this, but I guess it's going to start channeling here in a minute, I think. Like some people are like, oh my God, I feel cold energy. It's negative. Bull. My dad always comes to me ice cold, like dry ice. So every spirit's going to have a different energy in what you feel. Some people might feel a little tickle or something behind their neck. So I think, people that are grieving or looking to connect with their loved ones, we as the human have to start having that awareness and paying attention and being an observer to sense it.
Yes.
I mean, if we don't pay attention to how we're feeling or what our bodies are doing, how are you gonna,
how are you going to read the signs?
yeah,
Because the signs do, majority of them come through the body. But you also can tell if you want a loved one to come by, many come by in the way of butterflies,
yes.
cardinals, music, a scent will waft through you. I've been smelling cigarette smoke and it's like, okay, I'm thinking it might be my mother or father. They were big, heavy smokers when they
That
were
would be it.
at a certain point.
And I think that is like go with your first gut on who you think it is. Or,
Yeah.
like you said with music, my dad died 2.5, 3 years ago almost. And Superdog
Yeah.
in Wheeling.
Well, they're my cousins, my distant cousins. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay. That's probably why I'm bringing it up because I normally don't bring this up in an interview. Maybe your cousin, maybe your family is here. So I never go to Superdog. And sometimes just driving down, that street, Milwaukee Avenue, and I'm driving and somebody said, pull in there. And for people that don't know what it is, it's like an outdoor.
It's the old drive-in hot dog stand is what Superdog is.
And you have like the speakers, you order your food
and the
in.
car hops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I pull in there and this Superdog is big. What do you think? Got to be 100 speakers? 50? I don't know.
I think maybe like 60 or 70. Yeah. There's
a
a
lot. So I pull in and I'm like, okay, I don't know why I'm here. So I'm gonna order a hot dog. All of a sudden I pull up to the speaker and my dad's name was Leroy. Out of every speaker in the place, the song Bad Bad Leroy Brown was playing. And we always sing it to my dad. It was the song, because it went with my dad's name, all the like nursing assistants and nurses sang it to him. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So it could be something that spontaneous.
And synchronistic.
Yeah. I mean, how could that happen?
And it happens all the time, but your story just gave me such goosebumps coming up and down me. So that's
it was wild. And there's so many things I guess if you went to the dreams too, you may just see them for a second right before, like in your third eye, right before you're waking. You may have a totally interactive talking thing because when we're sleeping, we are a spirit having a human experience and our spirit is communicating.
Well, our spirit leaves our body. It doesn't need sleep. Spirit doesn't need sleep.
People have seen me in California. I'm in Chicago and I'll have a friend call me and they're like, Sherry, you're in California right now. I said, what the hell are you talking about? Some of it's unexplainable, but if people could just open their mind, to the possibility and even just like start seeking, start questioning, maybe it'll start for them,
Exactly. And here's a great time where people are home, many people are out of work, and there's a lot of things you can find on YouTube to train you, to teach you, you could play with. There are books you can read.
Exactly.
But it's fun to just try something new and train, and you just never know. You might open up to something, big epiphany might happen, and you might be flooded with information. And if you are, reach out to somebody like Sherry or myself who can help guide you through this, but at least calm you down enough to have you take a breath to
well, you remember
what's
how
going on.
It is when it first starts happening. It's so excited, like you're so ungrounded because you're like, oh, wait, you're calling everybody. This happened, this happened, this happened. I mean, it's really hard to settle into it. Some people think they're going crazy. Some people are scared from it.
Or they think there's schizophrenia coming in, and there's no schizophrenia.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I would bet dollars to donuts most of the schizophrenia are truly psychics.
That's
clairvoyants.
That's been proven that there's a lot of people that have been locked up because they're like, we're hearing voices.
Well, it's
I
like
think
the
in the old
witches being
days,
burned in Salem. Were you going to say that?
Yeah. Well, no, I was just gonna say like,
Oh.
a lot of mediums I think ended up there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little weird when it starts happening. I mean,
Well, especially if you're a non-believer and it starts happening.
oh,
See,
yeah,
I
that'd
had
be
been
very
going for
shocking.
readings since I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
I went with some high school friends to the occult bookstore for a first reading.
Okay.
And so the person who did it with playing cards. She didn't do it with tarot cards.
Right.
And it was fascinating. I was like, oh my God. And then I was hooked.
Yeah, I think, I just think that there's a divine plan that, I've had some intuitives tell me that I wanted to be like normal for half my life, like raise my kids, and then do the second part of my life doing this. So I always knew when my last one went off to college that's when it's
You
going
give
to
yourself permission.
I'll have more time, and, I started having like these dreams and getting these teachings in my sleep. And like, I'd wake up and I would hear these ones happen like right before I woke up. They're not always that way. I heard the word like be benevolent. A couple of days later, I'm hearing be merciful. If you don't know me, but if you knew me, I don't use those words. So here's me. I'm like, I tell my friends that they're like, Sherry, that's not your word. And I'm Googling the words. What does that mean? I mean, obviously I know what it means now, but at the time I didn't. And I call it like soul words. So when your soul or guides or angels or whatever, you choose to believe in is
Right.
talking to you because you are getting, it's a different it doesn't sound like you.
Right.
You know, maybe it is your soul, okay, or your higher self, but usually it will come in such a different manner. You know, it's somebody else.
And for the most part, the voice sounds like your voice. It's just talking in a way that you're not accustomed to talking. It's not your normal phraseology. It's not the way you put sentences together.
And you know what just popped in my head now too, which I've never said. I don't think I've ever said in an interview, or if I did, maybe once. I went and saw John of God once in New York, and it was interesting, but I didn't get healed. But okay, but he has this thing like where you go home like at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you're supposed to sleep. And I guess my soul wants to say this. And I went to sleep, and I remember like screaming in my sleep. Like, it was a two-way conversation, and it kept saying over and over and over, "See me for who I am." And I'm screaming in my sleep, "Who are you? I don't know who you are." And then it finally said, "Your inner compass." So was my soul. But it doesn't sound like my voice. I swear sometimes it sounds like a man. I don't know. But it does not, it does appear to be a different voice.
That's interesting. See, my information comes in my voice. And so it's like, I need to be really careful. It's like, is this ego? Is this my guidance?
Right. Now, I actually noticed with me is, again, I think, you know, you just have to practice to master it.
Mhm.
Like when I connect to spirit, like right behind my right ear, I can like mentally and somehow in my head, I kind of like take my attention in there. And
Mhm.
that's where it seems like I get the thoughts that come in.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that?
I, I get buzzing,
Okay.
like I'll be like around my eyes, like around the third eye.
Hmm.
That's usually what I get. But I tend to be more clear knowing. That's
Okay.
my strength. And then I become, so my strength is clear knowing, clairaudient, and then clairvoyant.
And I think that, you know, a lot of people say like, "Oh, what's your gift?" And so many people say, "I'm clairvoyant." And, you know, I kind of call BS on that because it may be your strongest, but if you have that, you can open the other ones. Just maybe,
Right.
you know, give up putting all your focus on the strong one and try to build the other one stronger.
Exactly. It's so true. So, which is your preference? Do you enjoy the gallery readings or the one-on-ones because of the
Uh,
information you're able to share? Because
it's
some
in,
people are show people. They just like to be able to share with a lot because,
yeah,
as you know, if everybody's in one room, everybody's meant for the same message, whether it's their
yeah.
relative or not.
So that's kind of a interesting question that you asked, because fear of public speaking was my number one fear. And of course, you know, meeting Jennifer, the first, you know, I was a very brand new psychic medium, but I guess she felt guided and we knew spirit brought us together. Right. And
Yes.
like I said, my gifts just opened up as strong as they are now from day one. Okay. It was weird. And she's like, started booking me for like these, like, you know, we were doing events in a wine shop. You know, it was private readings. I would do like 8 or 10 of them or whatever.
Right.
Then one day she goes, "Oh, I'm going to have you do an event at Madame Zuzu's, you know, Billy Corrigan
Hmm.
thing, and it's going to be a gallery." And I'm like, "Oh, hell no." And it was me like, you know, 40 or 45 people, whatever it was. And now you throw Billy there, he's going to be there too. And I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm scared to death." But I'm also a person that realized I knew what spirit was doing. I knew what my soul wanted to do. So I always stepped into my fears. And like I said, public speaking was the scariest darn thing to me. But I said yes. And in the morning when I woke up the day of the event, I was like crying. I'm like, "There's no way in hell I can do this." And then something in my head said, "Go hypnotize yourself." I'm like, "What?" So I went on YouTube. I'm not kidding. I hypnotized myself for fear of public speaking. It was 20-minute meditation. And you can tell I'm kind of hyper. I was so calm. I walked in and Jen's like, "What is wrong with you?" Because I was talking like this and so calm. And I'm like, "I don't think I could do a reading." I'm like, "Don't have the energy right now. I'm too calm." But of course, it went well. So a lot of mediums start out in the living room in front of 6 people. My
Right.
first one was with Billy, Jen, you know, at Madame Zuzu's, and in front of 45 people. So it's like almost like they're telling me right now, they wanted to throw me in. So I did like something that I thought I couldn't do because then everything else became easier. So I still get nervous with galleries, but spirit wants me more public. Uh, I did not plan on being on stage. You know, I still get anxiety about it, but that does tend to what comes to me. But I do a lot of, you know, one-on-one readings. Of course I do those. But the gallery seems to be where I really shine more because I think I am kind of rowdy and I think, you know, my personality fits it. And I think I do well when there's a lot of energy around me. So Did I
And
go
the
looking
energy
for that?
builds on your energy.
Yeah, and I did not go looking for that last thing in the world I wanted to do, and it's where God wants me. So I do a lot of galleries, yeah. And I do have fun with them now. You know, you do get nervous beforehand, of course, with anything. Plus, I think when spirit comes through, you get more anxiety and you get more energy. But once it starts, it's a fun. I mean,
Well,
I like
I-
making it fun. I mean, I like making people cry so they get the healing, but spirit works with me like that. They get people to cry, but then they make them laugh,
right.
you know.
I definitely understand that. And it's funny, but I think here's the reason why a lot of people are uncomfortable with galleries. And this is something I witnessed. I was at an event and there were like, I think there were 3 mediums on the stage. And one of them like was saying, okay, I'm feeling something. And they mention a state and they mention an illness. And someone's like, well, that's me. And then they start talking about it and they're like, nope, nope, nope. And nobody else is saying, oh, no, that's me. And so, yeah, nobody wants to be perceived as incorrect. And I
That's a
think,
hard thing. And that trick there for mediums is like people tell me, no, no, no. I do this with private clients. Even on one, I did a reading last night. She's like, no, no, no. And I'm like, sorry, I'm sticking with it because I know what I'm hearing. Spirit's
right.
telling me this. But sometimes I think like clients or people in the audience have psychic amnesia. It's like it'll hit them later. You know, how many times you get the phone call later? Oh my God, yeah, I had an Uncle Dick, or I had, Joanne, or it hits them later. But so it is kind of different doing a gallery, but you have to stick with what spirit gives you.
Well, and here's the thing, you need to be true to yourself with the information you're getting. And like
Right.
you said, that might be that, or remember earlier I said that there's messages for everybody in a single message. So it might be either somebody says, well, that sounds like mine. And then you give message and they're going, no, no, no. But other people might say, it's
Exactly.
not mine, but oh, does
Yeah.
that resonate? So
Especially in galleries.
with all those
There tends
energies
to be a theme.
intermingle.
Yeah. For some reason, I get a lot of dead kids. Alcohol, drug overdoses, suicides. I get a lot of teenagers. Probably, because I'll say whatever they want. I mean, I will swear, I will. So,
Mhm.
if I brought Johnny through, who was looking like a little choir boy or an angel, they're like, the parent will be like, I'm like, no, this kid likes heavy metal and he's saying, the F word, or he's doing, they're like, oh yeah, that's my kid. I mean, that's where I think the medium, it really irritates me when a lot of mediums censor stuff. We do have to know how to say things in a healing way, in a proper way. But you know what? Our job is we're a mouth. That's it. We're a messenger. And my job is to bring that personality and the words through exactly how that spirit was.
That's what I mentioned earlier about it's none of my business what information is coming through me for somebody else. It's for somebody else. And I'm not going to censor it. I'm going to say it the way it is because that's the way the spirit, whoever is giving me the message, wants it to be.
Well, and that's it. I mean, like I told you earlier, when I opened my gifts up, I really kind of mastered myself. I felt my soul, spirit, obviously I did take class with a lot of people and worked with people. But at the beginning, my higher self came to me like in a trance and gave me a few rules to follow. And one of them was only say what I hear. Where a lot of teachers, we do want to expand on it and try to get it to a deeper message, but I'll never
Mhm.
forget that because they said, only say what you hear. So if I'm not getting the whole story, I mean, I really wish I would, I'll try. But if I'm not, and I hear turtle, I said the word turtle to a lady, she started cracking up and crying. And because her aunt that was dead rescued turtles. So one word,
Mhm. Can trigger.
yeah. I mean, it'd be nice to get the whole story, but you don't always, as a medium, sometimes we just get bits and pieces.
Right. But again, it's for the other person to know and not for me. So it's like, okay.
Well, yeah, and I want weird information. I don't want just like, grandma had a Betty Crocker cookbook. I want like,
Betty, she burnt she exchanged the sugar and the salt and then burnt the cookies.
yeah, or she's
And
got the cooking or whatever. I mean, I want
yeah.
really odd memories, and then I want proof that spirit's still around them.
So, right. Well, we're going to be right back. We've got a break coming up. So please stick around for more of Sherry Jewell. If you want to talk to Sherry, she's open and available. 888-346-9141. See you on the other side.
All right, nicely done. We're all clear. Back in about 2.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay, thank you.
Are you happy with the way everything's going? Are you getting
Yeah.
what you want out?
I feel like I've talked. What's funny is I don't know when I do these things. I don't know what I'm going to say.
Good.
They pop.
I like
up.
that.
Yeah. I mean, if I
It's
plan,
organic.
well, but I think they're putting things in my head, like they're bringing back like memories that I've had that they want me to say. So I just, when it pops in my head, I say it.
And I think it's perfect, absolutely perfect, because it's exactly what the audience needs to hear. Maybe not everyone, but people will pick up what they need and they'll sift through it and they'll bring to them what they
Well,
need to
that's
bring
it.
to them.
I look at it too as like, we're planting a seed in somebody, like maybe they'll have their aha moment 5 years from now.
Right.
Who knows?
Well, and it happens in divine timing. There's divine timing for everything. For you, when it happened to you, it happened to you when it needed to or was supposed to. And the same
Yeah.
thing for me. And it's the same thing with absolutely everybody. So if you're saying, I'm not there yet, I'm not there yet, wait. It may come to you and then you'll say, oh, now I know what they're talking about.
Well, I just think that, especially with everything that's going on now with this COVID stuff, I mean,
Oh my goodness.
it's going to bring a lot of people, down. But I think that this is going to be a big catalyst for, hundreds of thousands, millions of people waking up.
I think it's going to be that, but I feel you're going to be really busy because a lot of people are going to want to connect because they didn't have a chance to say goodbye. The hard thing about this
Oh
COVID is so
God,
many
yeah.
people, they don't have a chance to say goodbye and their loved ones are going to want to be able to say goodbye. They need the closure and you're
That's,
going to help them with that.
oh, thank you. That's what I've been thinking. I'm like, so many people, like there was a couple that lost a baby, they couldn't be with their baby. I was thinking about my parents. My mom died last July, and I'm like, thank God she's not sitting in a nursing home right now. I'm like, Mom, you checked out at the right time. I mean, because that's the
Yeah.
hard part. There's so much would have, and I think with grieving, that's a lot of it. I wish I would have said this, the would have, could have, should have. And when spirit comes through and gives the client that message of, I heard everything you said, I felt your hug or kiss when I was dying. That brings so much healing to the living person. I mean,
Right.
but this is
Because
going to be a doozy. Yeah.
yeah, many people, and as you know, who knows if while they were getting sick, somebody was frustrated and said words that they regret saying today, and they want to say, "I love you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make it more agonizing for you."
Right.
Because they don't understand what the other person is going through on the, with their illness or whatever it might be. And this is the opportunity. I mean, I hate to put it this way, but I'm going to put it this way because this is what I'm hearing. You're the mouthpiece. You're the one who's going to be able to give them the comfort that they need
Yeah.
through the messages you're able to give them from the people on the other side. And oh my God, can you imagine spirit right now receiving all these spirits back back home
Oh,
at one time? I mean, tens of thousands of spirits.
and some people believe people soul plan to check out. I don't know. My guidance for myself is I do have an autoimmune problem and I have
Mhm.
asthma. So I'm one of those, immune compromised people that shouldn't go out. And, I just share what they told me directly. They showed me to, and this is common sense, but they told me to wash my hands, but they also said, wash this part of my arm. Oh, okay. So you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying.
So, because you lean on shopping carts, you lean on stuff. So they showed me to wash from like here up.
Mm-hmm.
Then they showed me to wear a mask. And that was before they were telling us to. And then they told me to limit my exposure.
Right.
And I'm not an expert on this COVID thing by any means. But I think it will pass. But I think the media is going to
Sorry
keep.
to interrupt, but we are just about to come back.
Thanks, Matt. So just quickly, there was a medium who said to me that they think that there's like 5 opportunities to check out, contractually.
You're listening to Guided Spirit
that's the-
Conversations. To reach
this
Marla
might be just one
Goldberg
of them.
or her guest today, you're invited to call in to the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. If you'd rather send an email, the address is guidedspiritconversations@gmail.com. Now, back to this week's program.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for sticking around. Welcome back. And if you're new, I am speaking to Sherry Jewell, and we're having a sparkling conversation. I'm sorry, I love my puns. Sherry is a certified medium who's been practicing for a bit. She has studied and refined her skills. We're under the direction of leaders like James Van Praagh and John Holland. She has been a keynote speaker demonstrating mediumship at the Lightworkers Conference and at the All Souls Conference with Jennifer Weigel. Welcome back, Sherry.
Thank you. And that was a
This-
funny story too with Von Prague.
Let's hold that story really quick
Okay.
because this is charity shout out time.
Oh,
And we spoke about the shared charity before. And Sherry, I'm going to let you take over and talk about what we shared and
Well,
what you're going to ask people to do.
I was just kind of feeling that it's more important to help, help your neighbors, as Jesus said, be kind to your neighbors, help the people in your community, donate to a food pantry, donate to drop stuff off to people's houses, help the people close to you right now. I mean, obviously, if you got millions of dollars, donate to someone big, okay? But, for, just the average person, help where, in your hometown.
Exactly. I mean, Feeding America, people are out of work. 17 million people are going for unemployment. People who have never ever had to never needed help paying bills or getting food are waiting in line for
Yeah.
hours to get a bag of groceries to feed their
Well,
family.
so it could even be helping like someone that is an older person or immune compromised. Find
Yes.
out, maybe the village hall or somebody, or there's organizations, I'm sure locally, ask them who can't go to a store. Like, I'm not
Right.
supposed to go in the store, but, I do my best, but
I know
still need
the
toilet paper.
I know. And then when you get it online, I'll tell you a
Oh,
funny story. But
Instacart. Yeah. They charge me like $80 in extra fees.
it's horrible how people are taking advantage, but
Yeah.
toilet paper is hard to find. And so I saw an opportunity. I was on Amazon to buy a case of toilet paper, 60
Oh.
rolls. It was outrageously expensive, but I bought it. Why? Because not just for my son, my husband and I, but if anybody needs toilet paper, we have more than enough to be
You know what?
able
I
to
did the
say,
same
here's
thing.
a roll or two.
My friend thought she had COVID and she had 2 little boys, and I'm like, come over. I have a roll,
Yeah.
and I have some people in my house sometimes that have stomach problems. I need toilet paper,
Right.
So I did buy a bunch, but during it, Spirit told me to because I need it, but I'm also giving it away. So I think, share with your neighbors, check on your grandparents or, seniors in your
Your
area, or
neighbors, yeah, seniors in your
contact the
area.
food pantry, stuff like that.
Exactly. So, okay, we were now, thank you for that, Sherry. And I hope that everybody really helps your community because, we're all in this together. This is not something that one group is going to have and the other. It's not going to touch anyone else. It touches everyone.
What's a real cool thing is Nextdoor app. I was on Nextdoor app.
Yes.
And there's a Chinese community. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's a church organization now. And they actually put a thing, we're giving masks to people. Send us only if you're sick or immune compromised.
Right.
They dropped off masks at my house.
Which is,
And that
so
was through
much-
Nextdoor app. There's so many people helping each other on that Nextdoor app.
It's so true. So tune into Nextdoor and see what your community needs from you.
Yeah.
So before we started the charity shout out, you were starting to talk about James Von Prague and a funny story.
Yeah. So somehow it was years ago. I went to a workshop. He was in Chicago. I went to his workshop. And now remember, I was afraid of public speaking. So of course,
He lives in Chicago?
no, he was here doing
Oh,
a workshop.
Okay, I was going to say,
No,
I never heard that before.
No, yeah, he's in California. He was here for like a 4 or 5 day workshop. And there's probably a couple hundred people there. Remember, I was afraid of public speaking. So
Yes.
who gets called out on the stage with him?
You.
And I'm like, oh, hell no. But it was funny. So anyways, it went great. And then he invited me out to California and he gifted it to me. And then he was just here again. It happened to me again. I didn't want to go on stage. It was like a few months ago. And now he's inviting me to New York. So certain guided teachers, or it could be you, it could be me, certain players, I call it, will, like the teacher appears, right? When the student's ready.
Right.
Certain people will pop into your journey to help you decipher, figure out, take you to the next step. So people really, I mean, my life is 100% synchronistic. And when someone pops up, like you popped up, I'm like, okay, I trust because it's never steered me wrong.
And that's it. It's having faith. It's having trust.
Yeah.
Because that the information you get is what you need at the moment. And here's the thing, you don't have to like what you're getting.
Right.
Because sometimes you have to go through, fire and brimstone to get on the other side to rainbows and fresh air and sunshine.
Unicorns.
What?
And unicorns.
And unicorns, exactly. But yeah, it's trusting that whatever is coming to you is coming to you at the time, at the place, because because you need it at that moment, whether it be
And I
positive or
think that's the
negative.
one thing, I was so divinely guided this entire journey for like, 10 years. When I get a message like that, I go. And the one cool, if they want me to mention this before we end, I had a dream with Jesus. And so I've never had and that's another thing, take the fear out of mediumship and spirit. I've never had a scary thing except this, I'm going to tell you. Excuse me. I was asleep and I felt like I was pinned down in my sleep. I couldn't move. Whether I was or not, I don't know. But in my sleep, that's how I felt. And I remember like in my sleep, like thrashing and like going, help me. I was screaming, God, help me. Archangel Michael, help me. All of a sudden I hear this really low man's voice go, it's Jesus. I'm healing your lungs. I have asthma. Okay. Like we talked about. So here's me. I'm feisty. So I'm fighting in my sleep because all these people are saying, test spirit, make sure. So here's me fighting. I go, and I actually said this. I go, sorry, Jesus. I'm like, how the hell do I know you're Jesus? And then I see this guy from like the Roman ages. I mean, these people looked real in my sleep. I mean, it was a full out conversation.
Mhm.
And this guy was dressed all in like those Roman clothes with that skirt, the leather skirt or whatever. This dude is bent over in half, laughing hysterically. And I looked at him, I go, what are you laughing about? Who are you? And then he gave me his name. And then the weirdest thing happened was, this sounds really batshit crazy, but it will make sense at the end. They stole my couch. And I'm like, really? Jesus steals a couch? I'm like, who are you? I wasn't scared anymore. I was mad. Then I saw a little baby that was maybe a year or 2 year old. And I did lose a baby. He looked just like my other kids. So I think it was actually, the baby I lost. And he was playing with a truck. They stole his truck. Now I'm mad. I'm like, really? And now you steal trucks. Well, then there was a point to it because in that voice again, he goes, I'm sorry, hold on. He goes, you have to give to receive. So I had to give the couch, give all this. And then he hit me with this like really bright white light on my third eye. Has that ever happened to you?
A little shocked to put no.
Oh, it's so wild. It's a color white that you've never seen. It's happened to me a few times. And then I'm like, so I woke up and I'm like, oh, Jesus, I'm sorry. I didn't really think it was you, because the white light made me believe it.
Right.
But hold on. So what's weird though is a couple of days later, I'm in Walgreens and I'm in line, a young girl in front of me, her debit card, she was just buying like tea for like 99 cents. Her debit card was denied.
Oh,
Jesus's voice, that loud voice in my head goes, pay for her. And I went, so the lessons about giving to receive are coming after that dream. So I just said, excuse me. Okay. Hon, I'll pay for it. We all need our caffeine. I like made a joke of it, whatever.
yeah.
Honest to God, 2 days later, I'm in the same Walgreens. Oh, her bill was 99 cents. 9, a divine number. I mean, when is your bill 99 cents? A couple days later, I'm there again. A lady that appeared to have money, she did not need my money, was digging around for her wallet. It wasn't in her purse. The bill was 99 cents again. So I caught it. I'm like, before you yell at me again, I'm like, excuse me, ma'am, I'll pay for you. And it was really cool. What she did was, she goes, oh, thank you. I'll pay it forward. So she got it.
Yeah.
So that wacko dream with the couch and the truck being pulled away, it was a big lesson. But then it's almost like, I don't want to say it's a test. I hate that word. But they used it in my practical life to see if I would actually then,
Follow through
yeah,
and get the message that you received, which is the lesson of giving to receive. Because
Yeah.
when you give, you get back tenfold.
as long as you're doing it from your heart
Right. Of course.
for the right
From
reasons.
your heart. Yes.
And
Thank
I
you
know a
for
lot of people are like,
clarifying
oh,
it.
I'm going to try that. I'm like, no, you got to feel it. You got to,
Yeah. You just have to do it because it's necessary at the moment.
Yeah. So, that's how I've learned. And that's where I say, like, I find my truth is from my experience, my direct
Mhm.
experience. And, for many years, the beginning of my journey was very amplified like that and very directed and very,
Yes.
but I always trusted it and it was amazing. And I think then this is where, I keep committing to this. I keep trying, I keep practicing,
Right.
try to get better, try to do it for the right reasons. And you got to stay humble, and we have to be conscious of our own self, especially being spiritual leaders, teachers, psychics, mediums, whatever the role is. But I'm a huge believer is like, don't talk above people. I'm very down to earth. I like to just meet people where they're at. And I think that's what
Exactly.
God's looking for now. They're
I
not looking
s-
for these big holy rollers
it's
because my personality is going to get along with that teenager or,
Right. Jerry, I hate to cut you off, but our time is, we're,
That went fast.
we've completed. It went so fast. Thank you so much for being here and sharing all this amazing information. You are wonderful and your name fits you so well. You're definitely a jewel. And I'd love to
Oh,
have you back.
Oh, thank you. We had fun. Thank you. And God bless everybody. Stay safe, you know?
Thank you.
Okay.
And I want to thank everyone at Voice America for helping me get the show on the road, and Teresa Scott Reed, my assistant, my left arm, my right arm. God bless. And to you, please stay safe, stay healthy. Please be socially mindful and considerate to your neighbors, to the people around you. But until the next show next week, I send you love, I send you blessings, and I send you gratitude.
Thank you.
Take
God
care.
bless.
Thank you.
All right. Great job today, ladies. All clear.
Thank you.
Are we off the air?
One second. Let me do two
Bye.
things.